Hey, what's going on? Happy Monday. I hope you are feeling excellent today. Look, I want to welcome you to today's Enlightenment broadcast. My name is Jay Moore, your healthy accountant, and I'm excited, man. It's April the 1st. It's a Monday. Thank God it's Monday. And finally, our ship has come in. Finally, our ship has come in. That is the title of today's broadcast. And so, look, I want to take you through a quick story. And this story, there's a lot, there's going to be some symbolism, but there's going to be a lot of realism inside of the story. And so this story, I'm taking it from the book of John, John chapter 21. And, it starts at verse 1 and it goes, you can read all the way to the end of the chapter just to really get a lot of context here. But I'm only going to focus on on a small piece of this chapter, which is from the very beginning all the way down to verse 8, all the way down to verse 8. So, all right, so here's the story. The disciples, they were you know, they were still coming through that time period after Jesus had been crucified. And Jesus had been appearing to them over the last, really over a 40-day period. And here it was, they was feeling some kind of way. It was a few of them, and they wanted to get their minds right. They felt like, man, you know what, man, let's just go do something, man, because just this sitting around stuff is not working. And you know, Peter and a few other guys, they said it was about 7 of them. They decided to go fishing. Why did they go fishing? They went fishing because that's what they knew. That was their career. That's how they earned their living. And instead of sitting around, let's go make some money, or let's go do what we know. And so they go and they go fishing. And they're fishing all night. These are experienced fishermen. Are you experienced at something that you've been doing for a long time, and maybe you've gotten to a point or you hit a wall and things seem not to be going right, and here it is, they're on the boat, experienced. They fished all night long, and here it is, they have caught not one fish. Now that's interesting. For you to be an experienced fisherman, they have a business that they fish. Ain't caught no fish all day, all night. They've been out there all night, and here it is. It's dawn. It's about dawn now, and so all of a sudden there's someone on the shore, which is Jesus, but they didn't recognize him. And then he calls out. He says, "Hey, friends, hey, have you caught any fish?" This is what he says. Have you caught anything? Do you have anything to eat? And they was like, "No, we didn't catch anything." He said, "Well, look, why don't you guys go ahead and put your rods on the other side, because I'm talking about, guys, you have fished all night. You fished on one side, but I want you to fish on the other side." So he says, "Go to the other side and fish." And here it is. They put their rods on the other side, and all of a sudden, I'm talking about, they just got filled up with fish from everywhere. They couldn't believe it. And then John looks to the shore and says, "Wait a second. That looks like that's the Lord." He says, "That's the Lord. That's our God." And you know, Peter had been feeling remorseful. See, during the story, Peter was feeling remorseful about what he had done, because he sold Jesus out. He didn't he didn't stand up for, when they asked him, "Hey, do you know Jesus?" But Jesus told him that he would deny him 3 times, and Peter was still feeling bad about this. And Peter's just like, man, oh man, that's why they went fishing, because Peter wasn't feeling good. But when Peter realized it's the Lord, man, let me get over here. I got to see my Lord. And Peter didn't have his robe on. When they went fishing, they take off their robes, and all they had on is what was called like a loincloth, something just to cover themselves. And Peter, he said, "Let me put my robe on. I'm going to swim to the shore." But here's what happened. Remember, they put their rods on the other side. And here it is. They get all of this fish. They get all this fish. Now, here's what I want you and I to understand about this story, because there's a lot of symbolism that can be pulled out of this story when we think about things that we do on a regular basis, things that we know. Man, we know how to do these things. Like, I know how to be an accountant. I know how to do it. But what this story is saying is, even though you know what you may need to take what you know, and you may need to look at it. You may need to do it much different than you have done it before, because here it is, they're used to fishing. That's all they know. They are fishermen. They've been fishing since they were probably young guys, and here it is, they caught no fish all night long. How does an experienced person in business not catch any fish? How does an experienced, say accountant, or how does an experienced realtor, or how does an experienced carpenter, or somebody experienced in their business, a construction worker, or a construction, but how do you go and you're not earning or getting what it is that you know you should be getting? How does that happen? See, if you go into a situation, think about what happened. Peter's feeling remorseful. He said, let's go and fish. But his head wasn't right. He wasn't even thinking straight. He was thinking so off the wall that here it is, he's out doing what he loves. This is found in John chapter 21, if you read from verse 1 to verse 8. Peter's out here fishing, and all he's thinking about is how he messed up. All he's thinking about is, man, I can't believe I didn't stand up for my Lord. Now, there's another context to him not standing up, which recently I came under, and I'm finding belief is that Peter was the only disciple. He was one of the only disciples that when they came to take Jesus, he stood up with Jesus. He was ready to fight. He was ready. He was not going to allow them to take his Lord, his rabbi, his leader, his master. And he pulled his knife out and he started fighting. He cut off the soldier's ear. But here's what happened. Now, Jesus was trying to figure out who was going to lead the group. He knew Peter was going to do that. He knew everyone else would run. He knew Peter would stay. Peter was committed to his master. And so when Jesus saw this, he says, hey, Peter, man. He says, look, man, don't worry about that. I'm laying down my life. But okay, I understand what's going on with you. He placed the ear back on. But Peter didn't want to leave. Peter followed the soldiers because he wanted to be by his master's side. He really wanted to be there. So when it was time, when people started recognizing him, they said, hey, Peter, this guy was with him. And I don't know that you would believe this way, but here's what I believe Peter was thinking. Well, I don't want to leave, because if I tell them I'm a part of Jesus, then maybe they take me, or maybe I have to run now. But he wanted to say, well, I'm not with him, because he wanted to stay. He wanted Jesus to know that he was there, even though he was denying him. So this is the mindset that Peter is under while he's out fishing. He's out fishing under the mindset of remorse and how he feels so bad, and I can't believe my Lord is gone, and oh my goodness, he told me that I would mess up. He told me that I would deny him, but I didn't want to deny my Lord. This is my God. But even yet, Jesus was still trying to figure out a way to help these guys so that they would have everything they needed. And here it is, they're on this ship. They're out there fishing. They ain't caught nothing. And then finally, Jesus says, hey, if you just take your rod and you go on the other side of your boat. They go on the other side, and here it is, they catch so much fish that they would have so much fish that, hey, look, that fish was money. They weren't just going to fish to eat. And Jesus is on the shore. By the time they get to the shore, Jesus is over there cooking up some fish already, because he's the Lord, right? So he's already cooking them fish. They're the fishermen. They should have fish cooking him some fish, and he's over there cooking them up some fish by the time they get back to the shore. But here's the thing. What did he do for them? When I say finally our ship has come in, it's, hey man, after all this time, all this experience we have, we've got to now shift it. We've got to shift it to the other side of the boat. We've got to take that same tenacity and skill, but we got to shift it to the other side of the boat so that we now can do what it is that we're supposed to do. That is what Jesus had to teach them that day, is that, look, you're going to have to think different. You're going to have to think way different than what you've thought about in the past or in the present, so that when I leave, you'll be fully equipped. You will fully understand what it is that you have to do. And I'm gonna tell you, I was sitting here thinking this morning, and what can I say? And I was in Acts, I was reading Acts, and I've been reading Acts 2 for the past couple of weeks. Every day I've just been breezing over it because I'm really intrigued with how Jesus is gone. He promised them that the Comforter, the Holy Ghost would come. He promised them this, and here it is. They were waiting for it. And when it finally came, they were filled up with this, and they saw that something miraculous and amazing had happened in their lives. But at the end of that chapter, after Peter had finished speaking, 3,000 people decided that they wanted to follow that message. And after they all followed, they all came together. They all communed, and they all spent every day together. They were selling their stuff, and they were all making sure that everyone was taken care of. And so I've been studying this one chapter because I've been intrigued with it. And so then sometimes I want you to go back to John, just the end part, and just read the end. And so I said, wow. So now as I'm thinking about what is the context that you should understand, that I should understand today, here's the context. You've gotten this far, and you may not be where you want to be. You know that there's more in your life. You know that, man, there's something else you can do, or you know that you can take what you have and you can, do something even more amazing. And you're absolutely right in thinking that. So your ship coming in has more to do with you casting your net, casting your fishing rod on the other side of opportunity. You'll still be the fisherman. You'll still be an accountant. You will still be a realtor. You will still be a chef or a cook, or you'll still be a musician. You will still be an administrator. You'll still be everything that you've been. Maybe a pastor, or maybe you are an auto mechanic, or maybe you've been in finance for a long time. You'll still be that. You'll still have that. But when you go to the other side, you're going to the other side because there's way more opportunities there. I'm talking about the opportunities are endless. And as soon as you get over there, you'll realize that, wait a second, I could have been on this side all this time. Well, you could have been, but it doesn't matter if you could have been. But today you can go to the other side. And that's where the mother lode of all fish is waiting to be picked up by you. They've just been sitting there. The disciples sat there all night on their boat, and those fish were waiting for them. Some would say, well, maybe it was Jesus that did it. Well, that means you got to have a connection. That means that, in the context of this story, you've got to have the right connection. You've got to understand that I'm going to put my belief so that belief will now help to transform everything that I've ever thought. Everything that I know can happen for you, for me, for anyone. See, when Jesus finally left them, and he basically turned over the ministry to Peter. He turned it over to Peter, and towards the end of chapter 21, he starts asking Peter, hey, Peter, man, do you love me? Do you love me? Of course, Lord, you know I love you, man. Of course I do. And then he asked him again, Peter, do you love me? would wonder, like, why is Jesus asking him 3 times? And we're going to get to the third one. Why is he asking him 3 times why he loves him? See, Jesus is trying to figure out, of all these disciples, who can I trust? Who is it that will love me so much that they won't love themselves? Meaning that they won't put themselves, they won't put ambition, they won't put, the fact that they've got the position in front of everything. Now, Peter, he has to love himself, but he won't allow himself to go in front of his master. See, his master is Jesus. He's been in Jesus' school all these years while Jesus was with him. And he wants to push his message. So Jesus is trying to figure out, hey, do you love me, God? And by the third time, Peter I'm talking about, he's just like crying, Lord, you know I love you. You know I love you. And then Jesus, with tears in his eyes, says to Peter, man, I want you to feed my sheep. Take care of my lambs. Take care of those that I shepherded. Be the leader here, is what Jesus wanted. And what happens, guys, is that when your ship comes in, yeah, there's going to be some things that you will gain. Now, but you got to understand that once you gain those things, you got to go and feed. You got to go and give it away. You've got to go and serve it up. I'm talking about you got to serve it up to others. And that's what Jesus was letting Peter understand that day. Peter, I want you to go and serve others. I want you to go and take this same message that I had and serve others all of what you are. Because just because your ship comes in doesn't mean that you're just going to now just have a good time and be able to spend all your money and, all this is just about fun and games. No, not at all. Go serve it up to others. Teach somebody else how they too can have their ship come in. Teach somebody else how they can start living their life at the highest level that they can. Teach somebody else how they can recognize who they are, because you have to know exactly who you are and why you were created. Teach somebody those methods that you've been taught. See, that's what Jesus wanted them to do. He wanted him to take the same message that he had with the same zeal and be ready to lay down your life for it, because that's what he did. And that's what Peter wound up doing. Peter wound up laying down his life in the same way that Jesus did. Peter's ship came in, but you know what? It wasn't about the ship coming in. It was about the life that he would live after, and it was about him taking care of all of the people that Jesus left behind. And as you know, it's been the fastest growing movement. It's been the biggest movement ever created on this planet. And you know what? Your ship's ready to come in. Look, if you desire that your ship come in, look, I want you to place your net on the other side of your boat today. I want you to decide that, you know what? How I've done it is not working. And I want to change today. I want to understand exactly who I am and exactly, why I was created, so that I can go out and serve up my gifts and my talents to the world. So I can serve them the same way that he served his disciples. So if you desire that, I want you to just make a commitment to yourself. I want you to make a commitment today that today is the day, on April 1, 2019, the start of the second quarter. Today is the day that your ship's going to come in, but that you're going to serve up. You're going to serve it up, all of what you are and all of what you have gained, to the rest of the world. All right, I hope you got value from this program today. My name is Jay Moore. I'm your healthy accountant, helping you to account for your life in all areas. So look, If you got any value from this program, look, I'd like for you to share this program across Facebook, subscribe on YouTube, like our page on Facebook. Be on the lookout. We're going to start a new page that will highlight some other things that you may be interested as well. So look, I look forward to seeing you back here tomorrow. God bless you. Take care.